If you've been scrolling through endless listings, watching videos of people bragging about their rigs, and still feel like you're stuck in a loop of "this looks good on paper, but will it actually work for me?" you're not alone. I've been there trying to balance raw horsepower with a case that doesn't scream over the top at 2 a.m. while I'm trying to beat the next boss. That hesitation, that fear of dropping a few $100s on a machine that sounds perfect but ends up being a mismatch for your real-world needs, is exactly why I'm doing this deep dive. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The HOENGAGER ARGB Control Gaming PC arrives with a bold pink chassis, a full set of RGB fans, and a name that promises ultra-fast processing power and next-gen visual rendering. On the surface, it sounds like the kind of pre-built you'd buy if you wanted to jump straight into 1440p or even 4K gaming without fiddling with component choices. But the real question is whether the combination of a Ryzen 5 9600X, an RTX 50608GB, and 32GB of DDR5 actually translates into a smooth, future-proof experience for the kind of games you play, and whether the aesthetics and extra features justify the price tag. First, let's talk about the core of any gaming PC, the processor and graphics card. The Ryzen 5 9600X sits in the middle of AMD's 6000 series lineup. It's capable of handling modern titles at high settings, especially when paired with the RTX 5060. In my own testing, the combo held solid 60+ FPS in titles like Cyberpunk 2077 on medium-high settings at 1080p, and it nudged close to 100 FPS in Fortnite or Valorant on max settings. That's more than enough for competitive players who want high frame rates, and it's a comfortable margin for anyone who streams or records at 1080p 60. However, if you were hoping to push native 4K at ultra settings, the 8GB VRAM on the RTX 5060 will start to feel constrained after a few demanding releases. You'll see texture pop-ins and occasional stutter when the GPU tries to pull data from system memory. So, for casual 1440p gaming or serious 1080p play, the hardware is a solid match. For high-end 4K, you'll likely need to upgrade the GPU later. Memory and storage are where this build tries to set itself apart. 32GB of DDR5 running at 6000 MHz is generous, and you'll notice it when you have dozens of browser tabs, voice chat, and a game running simultaneously. The system won't choke on background tasks, and load times feel snappy thanks to the 1TB PCIe NVMe SSD. I ran a few benchmarks loading Red Dead Redemption 2 and Elden Ring, and the world opened in under 10 seconds, much faster than older SATA-only rigs. The extra 1TB SATA drive is useful for bulk storage, think recording footage, large mod libraries, or a growing collection of indie games. It's a practical compromise. You get the speed where it matters for games, and you still have a sizable backup drive without needing an external enclosure. Now, the ARG aesthetics, design and thermals claim is more than just a marketing line. The pink chassis with RGB lighting is eye-catching, and the fans are synchronized through the included software. If you're setting up a gaming nook that doubles as a streaming backdrop, the visual flair works as a cheap way to add personality. The thermal performance is decent, too. Under a sustained load in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, the CPU temps hovered around 78°C, while the GPU stayed in the low 70s. The case's airflow design, intake from the front and exhaust at the rear and top, keeps the components cool enough for long sessions without resorting to aftermarket cooling solutions. That said, the pink finish is a bit glossy, and fingerprints show up easily. If you're the type who likes a pristine white or matte black look, you might find the finish a maintenance headache. One of the hidden trade-offs here is the software ecosystem. The pre-installed ARGB control panel tries to manage fan curves, lighting zones, and even basic overclocking. In practice, the interface feels like a trimmed-down version of more robust tools like MSI Dragon Center or Asus Armory Crate. It gets the job done for adjusting fan speeds or turning the lighting off entirely, but it lacks granular control for fine-tuning the CPU boost or GPU power limit. If you're a tinkerer who likes to push every component to its edge, you'll probably want to install third-party tools later, which can get messy on a pre-built. On the flip side, for users who just want a plug-and-play experience, the included software is straightforward enough to avoid a steep learning curve. Who should actually consider buying this machine? First, the casual to mid-range gamer who wants a ready Togo system that can handle the latest titles at 1080p or 1440p without breaking the bank. If you're into esports titles, creative work like photo editing, or streaming at 1080p 60, the hardware comfortably meets those demands. The built-in Wi-Fi is a nice touch for dorm rooms or apartments where running Ethernet isn't practical, and Windows 11 comes pre-installed, so you won't need to spend extra time setting